This is the Black Square Caravan Professional. I have been flying this airplane non-stop, and even though it was gifted to me by Just Flight and Black Square, I was already planning on purchasing this on day one. The Caravan is one of my favorite turboprop airplanes, and Black Square have definitely delivered on their promise of a brand new airplane built from the ground up. Today's journey begins in Fort Lauderdale, Florida at Fort Lauderdale Executive Airport. We're flying the Cargo Master variant in the Airnet Systems livery by Tim HH on flightsim.to. The journey today will be from Fort Lauderdale to Nassau in the Bahamas with a total of 177 nautical miles. We are operating as Flight 602 with the call sign of Florida Cargo. Airtime today is 1 hour and 3 minutes, and we're expecting a windy arrival into Nassau. Cruise altitude will be 7,000 feet as the Caravan is unpressurized, and even though we do have oxygen on board for higher altitudes, we're just going to stick to 7,000. The clouds seem to be clearing up the further we go to the east, so we should have good views of the Bimini Islands. Walk around is complete. Pitot covers and chocks are removed. Rudder lock is removed. Let's head up into the airplane and get started.
All right, let's get the door closed here. I got the window open so we can listen to these wonderful sounds that the Caravan has. Control lock is removed. We've already removed that rudder tail lock, and now we can double check and make sure our cargo is good to go, which it is. We have plenty of fuel. Let's go fuel selectors to the on position, and we'll put that away for now. Pre-flight inspection is complete. Cabin doors are latched. Parking brake is set. Control lock removed. Seats and seatbelts are secure. Ignition switch is on normal. Circuit breakers are all in. Fuel selectors both are on. Oxygen pressure is at 1850 psi. Ventilation and AC is off. Bleed air heat is off. Cabin mixing air flight push. Emergency power lever normal. Power lever is at idle. Prop goes full forward. Fuel condition lever is at cutoff. Fuel cutoff pushed in. Firewall valve is pushed in. Battery switch coming on. Annunciators, we'll test those. They are good. Test the fire system. That looks good to me. Flap lever is up. No smoking seatbelt signs. We're not worried about that today. Beacon and nav are fine. Avionics switch 1 is coming to the on position. Bus volts, we're looking for 24 volts minimum on our guy there. Emergency annunciator is extinguished. Prop area is clear. Fuel boost pump to the on position. Fuel pressure low. Annunciator is extinguished. Fuel flow is at none. Starter switch start. And we are going to be looking for an NG RPM stable greater than 12% as it is climbing right now. So 11, 12. Introduce the fuel. Watching our ITT. Make sure maximum is 1090 for 2 seconds. ITT looks good. Rolling back. Watching for a hung start. NG is climbing. And it is stable. Fuel flow is between 90 and 140. NG is greater than 52%, which it is. By the way, you can tap on these little glasses. It makes a little sound too. It's pretty cool. Starter switch to the off position. Starter engage light is out. We're going to go ahead and flip our generator to the reset position. That goes off. Auxiliary fuel pump, we'll get that to norm. Lights extinguished. Battery charging, negative. Gen, we'll throw it over to Gen, looking good. And it is positive. Weather radar is off and standby. Avionics switch 2 is on. River nav lights on. Suction is good right at 5 in the green. Remote compass is slaved and aligned. 82 degrees, so we'll just turn the AC on to cool right here. We don't have to be anything crazy here. I'm just going to probably turn these on for now in just a little bit so we can cool down the cabin. We do have precipitation and clouds down pretty low today, so we're going to be pulling that inertial separator out. So that's good to go. Hit enter on these guys. We're just using the old Garmin's today rather than the GTN 750. I do have the TDS GTN XI, but I'm just showing you something that is free that comes with the airplane. All right, while those are acquiring the satellite positions, let's close our door here. And we're going to go ahead and get our ATIS, and then we'll get our clearance so we can get out of here.
Fort Lauderdale Executive Airport information. Victor, 2057 Zulu. Wind 010 at Niner. Gusts 21. Visibility 10. Scattered at 3,300. Scattered at 4,300. Ceiling 6,500 broken. Temperature 22. Dew point 17. altimeter tree 000, landing and departing runway 09er. Advise on initial contact. You have information, Victor.
All right, 3000, that is what we got. We have information, Victor. Let's give them a call for clearance. Executive clearance, Florida Cargo 602, ready to get our IFR clearance over to Nassau, and we have information, Victor.
Florida Cargo 602, executive clearance information, Victor correct, cleared to Linden Pendling Airport. Gabo 2 departure, Ray J transition, then as filed. Climb via SID, except maintain for 1,000 feet. Departure frequency 123.775. Squawk 6241.
Clear to Linden Pendling Airport, Gabo 2 departure, Ray J transition, then as filed. Climb via SID, except maintain 4,000. Departure frequency 123.775, squawk 6241. Florida Cargo 602.
Florida Cargo 602, read back correct. Contact ground 121.75 when ready for start or taxi.
All right, we'll contact ground 121.75 when ready to taxi for Florida Cargo 602. All right, procedure, we're gonna select our departure here, and that is going to be what they gave us, which was the Gabo 2 departure. We'll enter that, and we're taking off of probably runway 31, I would imagine. We'll see what they end up giving us. We'll enter that in for now, and that's Ray J for the transition. We'll load that in, and then we'll get our arrival later. I think we're just going direct, to be honest with you. Our squawk was 6241, and we're on out. They said climb via SID, but we're going to go ahead and put 4,000 in since they gave us the accept maintain 4,000. And we're going to get our weather radar over to test mode. There we go. We've got an MSA at the airport here, 2600. We're looking at the SID here, assigned by ATC for our top altitude routing from Menudo on track 122 to Gabo. Then on transition, maintain ATC assigned altitude, expect clearance to filed. Altitude 10 minutes after departure, like they said. Flight instruments are set and checked. Cabin lights are off. Cockpit lighting is dim for taxi for now. Taxi recog is coming to the on position. Inertial separator is pulled out. Park and brake, we're gonna go ahead and release that guy right here. There we go. Let's hold the brakes for right now. And I do have working brakes. Those are good for me. Remote compass is aligned, and we are good to taxi over to here, and we'll give them a call. Do love how realistic the beta is on the throttle quadrant. Fantastic stuff. All right, we're good there. Let's give them a call. Executive ground, Florida Cargo 602, ready to taxi with Victor.
Florida Cargo 602, runway 9er, taxi at pilot's discretion.
Runway 9er, taxi at pilot's discretion, Florida Cargo 602. Procedure page, departure, enter on that guy, Gabo 2. We're going to be runway 9er now. And we're still Ray J, load that. That's good. Pretty simple to fix it. All right, so now we're just going to take Bravo all the way down to Alpha, left on Alpha, and then we'll hold short of runway 9er at Alpha 1 there. We have 6,000 feet of runway, so anything below our V1 of around 75 knots, we'll just reject the takeoff, and it'll be a right turn off onto Bravo there. Anything that's not significant, we'll take it to the sky. Almost down here to the runway 9er. Looks like we have a crosswind that's going to be from our left-hand side today. As you can see, we are on this beautiful motion rig provided by DOF Reality. Links are in the description below if you want to check it out. You'll see that motion rig gaming is really starting to become an affordable thing. It used to be thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. Now it is just, about like $7,000 will get you something in the ballpark of what we're using here today. but nothing like, you know, $20,000, $30,000 they used to be. So it's really become more affordable. I was in the market for one, and then I partnered with DOF Reality, and I had problems with my flight sim rig for the past like 6 months, so I got it fixed, reinstalled everything. So more flight sim content will be coming. 120.9er over to the tower, Florida Cargo 602. See ya. Let's give them a call. We're gonna be ready for takeoff here. Let's go ahead and go landing lights on. We'll do our before takeoff checklist. Strobe lights coming on as well. All right, parking brake is set. Seat belts are secure. Flight controls are free and correct. Standby alt to the on position and 0. Generator load is looking good right there. Between 30 and 60 amps. Gen switch to trip, and now we have that load. Gen switch to reset. Fuel boost pump is on normal. Fuel selector is both on. Fuel quantity is good. Fuel cutoff is pushed in. Trims, we're gonna set that for takeoff right there. That's good. Flaps 1 notch for takeoff. All right, power lever up to 400 here. Power lever 400, suction is good. 24 volts minimum. Commercial separator is on. Engine instruments are checked. 1800 RPM. Overspeed governor. There's the drop. 1750, negative 60 RPM, looks good. Power lever to idle. Pitot heat coming on, look for the increase, there it is right there. And pitot heat off, there's the drop. Windshield, there it is right there. Do the prop next. Prop, there it is right there. There's the prop anti-ice amps. We don't need any anti-ice today. It is nice and warm out. All right, we'll go heading about 30 over to the left here, and we'll go ahead and engage the autopilot heading mode. There it is right there. All right, now we'll kick it over to the right-hand side, and we'll observe that it is following that, which it is. The autopilot is working just fine. Battery charging current is good. Weather radar is on. Strobe lights are on. Annunciators, gonna test those one more time. They are good to go. Flight instruments are set and checked. Storm windows are closed. Cabin mixing air is flight push. Fuel condition lever goes to high idle next. So let's do that. There she goes. And parking brake release. We're ready to rock and roll. Executive tower, Florida Cargo 602, ready to go, runway 9er.
Florida Cargo 602. Executive Tower, wind 010 at 9er, gusts 21, fly heading 090, runway 9er, cleared for takeoff.
Fly heading 090, wind 9er, clear for takeoff, Florida Cargo 602. All right, 090 on the heading. It's gonna be pretty much runway heading.
November 1073 Foxtrot, continue taxi.
Alright, let's make sure that's all set.
Rev Aero 754, continue taxi.
Alright, we're gonna bring up our power here. Nice and easy.
November 1073 Foxtrot.
Gonna be crosswind from the left-hand side, we're expecting.
November 1073
Alright.
Foxtrot, hold short of 09er departing traffic.
And our power ever so slightly in here, so we don't over torque the engine. Airspeed is alive. Pick up power is good there. All right, there's our rotation speed. On up we go.
Runway 09er, line up and wait. November 1073 Foxtrot.
And that torque will spike as we fly along here.
November 1073 Foxtrot, Executive Tower. Wind 010 at 9er, gust 21, fly heading 320, runway 9er, cleared for takeoff.
Fly heading 320, runway 9er, cleared for takeoff, November 1073.
All right, flaps coming up.
Florida Cargo 602, contact Miami Oceanic 123
Miami Oceanic 123.775, Florida Cargo 602. See ya. Using Beyond ATC today for our air traffic control. About 1,000 feet per minute, looking good here. Miami Oceanic, Florida Cargo 602, 800 climbing, 4,000, heading 090. Let's bring our prop back.
Florida Cargo 602, Miami Oceanic. Radar contact. Climb, maintain 7,000 feet. Altimeter 3000.
Climb, maintain 7,000, altimeter 3000. Florida Cargo 602. 7,000. All right, now we can go heading mode, and we have the autopilot on, and up we go.
Florida Cargo 602, contact Miami Center 3215.
Contact Miami Center 132.15, Florida Cargo 602. See ya. Miami Center, Florida Cargo 602, 4,000, climbing 7,000, heading 090.
Florida Cargo 602, Miami Center, copy.
But like I was saying before, I will be doing more flight sim content down here in the sim room with the DOF Reality H6 that you see here today. If you look over here, I do have a Blackbird Controls tiller I added to my rig for flying the Boeing airplanes. And I do have one that has a handle for like a 7.5 777, which is really cool. I love that. That thing is so awesome. So when we're flying a 737 here, before too long, you'll see the difference.
Florida Cargo 602, turn right, heading 130, vectors from Linden Pindling Airport.
Right turn heading 130, vectors for Linden Pindling Airport. Florida Cargo 602. All right, they're just kind of vectoring us here. So over to 130 we go. 130. And as you can see, the whole motion rig is turning. I am feeling that turbulence too, which is really cool. There we go, 130 set. Just picking up a little bit of turbulence. We're at our cruise altitude right now, 7,000 feet, and keeping our props right between 1,600, 1,900 RPM and about 1865 on the torque there. ITT is less than 740, and air conditioning and heat is required. We're just using some AC right now, but now it's gotten cold in here. We're up to 48, so let's turn that off. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to make sure that the bleed air is turned on so we get some heat into the cabin. And you can adjust the heat right there if you'd like. But this is all simulated and modeled in the airplane. If we look at the engine, there it is right there. You can see how it's all working. See how the inertial separator is open there. We're going to close that. And you'll see we'll get some actual increased torque there. So we're going to back it off a little bit. And our inertial separator is now closed. So you can see how it's redirecting that air now. And so you have the suck, the bang, and then the blow. The prop governor in the front there. Very cool that you can see all the diagnostics of what's going on with the engine. And if you want to see what's going on with the electrics, you can do that as well right here. So very nice. And here's the cabin side of things that shows you the temperature inside right now of the airplane. Just turning the bleed air really makes a difference. So we can kind of open these up a little bit there. And we're going to close the vents from outside. There we go. And you'll notice the sound changes as well when we do that. Ear discomfort's only for us today because we're the only ones in the airplane. And you can keep an eye on your oxygen levels here. We're at 95 right now with a pulse oximeter. And we do have a full tank of oxygen. If we did need it, we could just simply come up here, pull that lever, and you would be good to go. Now you'll notice that the airplane's fuel is not completely balanced. So we have more on the left side than we do the right side. And to really combat that, that is modeled in the airplane. Basically, when we were taxiing around down there at Fort Lauderdale Executive, that fuel was sloshing around with a gravity-fed system. So since we're burning more, we can turn off the right selector there and now we'll burn more on the left to try to get them a little bit more even with each other. We have a great view of the North and South Bimini Islands right there off of our nose, just at our 1 o'clock. Contact Nassau approach 121.0, Florida Cargo 602. See ya. All right, well, we're going to be ready for our descent, it looks like. Let's give them a call first. Yeah, I already got Victor. Nassau approach, Florida Cargo 602, 7000. We have Victor.
Florida Cargo 602, Nassau approach, altimeter 29905. Expect radar vectors for RNAV runway 10.
Altimeter 29905. Expect radar vectors for RNAV 10. Florida Cargo 602.
Florida Cargo 602. Descend to 3,300 feet. Altimeter 29905.
Descend to 3,300, altimeter 29905, Florida Cargo 602. All right, down to 3,300 we go.
Florida Cargo 602, turn left, heading 125. Maintain 3,300 feet until established on the final approach course. Cleared R. Nav runway 10.
Okay, they're already slamming us down. Turn left, heading 125. Maintain 3,300 until established on the final approach course. Cleared RNAV 10, Florida Cargo 602. All right, well, it's happening. 125 on the heading, which we are at. We need to be in our descent, though. So let's go down, down to down, down, down. Pull our power back. MYNN. Enter on that guy. We're going to be RNAV 10. That's fine with me. And vectors is just fine. Load those in there. And they are. We're in our descent right now. And he cleared us for the most part. So what we're going to do is we're going to go direct to JoBib. That's what we're going to do. And we're going to activate that. There we go. And now that we have that, we can go ahead and go to nav on the GPS. And that is the case there. Airplane will be taking us over that way. That's going to get on the line. So it's going to go to the left lazily and then go to the right. All right. You're fine. Holding 3,300 for now is what they wanted us to do. It's going to intercept that, and then we'll get a nice turn to the right-hand side. Looks like it's going to be a final approach course of 098. So 098, 95, 678. About right there. It's good. It's pretty much a straight-in shot to the runway. All right, we do have both of our fuel selectors back to on there. We balanced the fuel out a lot better. You can see they're a lot closer together now. And just now pulling these vents to slowly bring the temperature down. It's at 75 here inside of the cockpit. Let's go ahead and start closing them up. That works pretty good right there. We turned the heat off a while back, so all is well there. And And now we are just waiting to get established on our final approach course. Let's go ahead and arm the approach. Once we have some weather out there off to our right-hand side starting to pop up on the weather radar there. But pretty close to picking it up.
Turn left, heading 055.
Any moment now we'll be grabbing that. Once we do, we can see we have the approach armed out, autopilot, glide slope, so it'll grab the glide path on the way in. Beautiful view.
Florida Cargo 602, contact Nassau Tower 119.5.
Contact Nassau Tower 119.5. Florida Cargo 602. See ya. All right, we are established. Looking good. We got the glide slope coming down. We're gonna pull our power back here. And now, we're gonna go fully forward on our prop. Nassau Tower, Florida Cargo 602, RNAV 10.
Florida Cargo 602, Nassau Tower, wind 050 at 14, runway 10, clear to land.
Runway 10, clear to land, Florida Cargo 602. All right, before landing, it's going to be coming on here. We've got seats and seat belts. Those are secure. Fuel selectors. Double check those both on. Oxygen's off. Landing lights are on. And inertial separators away. Ignition lever is all the way forward. Prop lever is full forward. Flaps. We're waiting for our wide arc here. It's keeping best speed towards the airport right now. And then it'll just be autopilot, and that'll be the last of the before landing checklist. We'll pull our power back just a little bit more. Get into this wide arc. There we go. And she's holding the autopilot's holding it just fine there. All right, we'll go our first notch of flaps here. It's good. Set right there. Everything's coming down the line, no problem. Go ahead and turn the autopilot off. Don't want the airplane to have all the fun, you know. All right, JetBlue just landed on runway 14. I haven't heard anybody else on the radio, so that was the only one that was coming in. Beautiful view of the water there on the left. Look at that coral. That is so cool looking. Love it. Let's get our flaps in here. And landing flaps are selected. We're just following the pappies in right now. I did a briefing, but I don't think I'm going to keep it in the video, just to keep the time down a little bit there. But I briefed the arrival and my taxi instructions that I can expect, although Beyond AT sometimes has no idea what the hell we're doing out here. One thing that having a motion rig brings to the table is the feeling of the seat of your pants flying feeling that you don't get normally in a sim. When I dump that nose over, you feel it. It is such a cool thing. Start slowing her down a little bit more. And this is a Payware Scenery airport. I think it's Sierra Works or something like that. Who makes it? The Nassau Scenery. And you can see that wind from the left really pushing us. Shoot for about 75 knots here as we get closer. It's usually windy down here in Nassau. That's why it's fun to come in here. Challenging airport. See that windsock out there too. All right, let's throw the crab out here and we'll walk it on in.
Hotel Echo Kilo ILS runway 14.
Charlie 6 Hotel Echo Kilo, Nassau Tower, wind 050 at 14, runway 14 clear to land.
Runway 14 cleared to land, Charlie 6 Hotel Echo Kilo.
All right. We don't even need reverse thrust. You can just use
Cargo 602,
beta.
next available taxiway.
All right, we'll exit next available taxiway, Florida Cargo 602. Let's roll on down. We're going to be going to the right, actually, so we just got to take this all the way down to the end for the most part. Lovely flight into Nassau today with Florida Cargo 602 with Airnet Systems. And what's funny with Airnet Systems is they're basically under the umbrella of Airnet Express and Kalita and all that. So when I was looking that up, I was surprised to see that that's what they were still doing. Still in the air cargo game. All right, taxi here. Going to be right there onto Kilo, it looks like. Let's open our window up so we can listen to the wonderful sounds this airplane has. We're following this little 310 in to the ramp. We'll go ahead and strobe light off, landing lights off. Contact ground 121.7, Florida Cargo 602. Okay, we'll contact them. Nassau ground, Florida Cargo 602, clear runway 10 at Kilo, taxi to Odyssey.
Florida Cargo 602, ramp 23, taxi via Kilo, Lima.
Taxi to ramp 23, taxi via Kilo, Lima, Florida Cargo 602. All right, flaps are coming up. Turn our radar off, we don't need that on anymore. And we're just taxiing up here to the right into Odyssey FBO, so Kilo Lima to the ramp. Heater heat's off, strobe lights are off, ice protection, all that's off on taxi, landing lights are off, condition lever is low idle, weather radar is off standby, inertial SEP is not required. That is after landing checklist complete. And then we're going to taxi into the ramp right over here at Odyssey. Park and brake. is set. Let's go ahead and kill it. Parking brake is set, avionics off, standby alternator is off, fuel boost goes to the off position, heat and AC, that's all going to be off. Power lever is idle for 1 minute, which we did. We have prop at feather, condition lever is cut off, exterior lights are all off, battery switch is off, fuel selectors go to off. Oxygen is off and inertial separator is put away. There we go. That is the shutdown checklist complete.
Well, not the smoothest landing, but a crosswind, it is to be expected. I think you're going to find the Caravan to be an enjoyable airplane to fly. The attention to detail and quality from Black Square are what keep me coming back for more flights. Let me know what you thought of the flight and the Caravan below in the comments. Don't worry, I'll work on dialing my graphics settings in for the next video, as they were all reset when I had to reinstall the sim. Again, thank you to DOF Reality for making these flights unforgettable.